Lukaš, please, now it's your time. Yeah, it's good time, you can have 40 minutes at least.
Cool, I will try to set it. So, Labas, these are unfortunately the only words I know. So, I will continue while there is, yes. Okay, so I will try to say something about our science teaching education. My background is physics, so I know most about physics, but a little bit about the other subject. By the way, in our country, and I think it's similar, teachers usually have two subjects, teaching two subjects. In some schools they specialized on one more, and we had to change it. Now we have a system that one is taken like major and one minor, which brings some discussion, but so far it's difficult that they have two subjects. A little bit introduction about, oh sorry, it was too quick, so I must get back, bad button. So introduce my background. So it's nearly 800 kilometers by air from my town, and it is the second oldest university in the Czech lands. You see also the church which was visited by John Paul II in 1995. So that's the silhouette of our time, and we have one monument of UNESCO. If you come, it's UNESCO heritage, and we have, as our guides say, the only communist astronomical clocks in the world. I'm not sure whether it's true, but unfortunately there is a sign over there, but these were done in the early 50s. But from astronomical point of view, that's the point for science education. They are not very good. The astronomy data on that are not real. Very good. That's the difference from the Prague astronomical clock, for instance. Okay, and this is our faculty and our cooperating universities. So typically about education in our country, we have a preschool education, then a basic school education, and then secondary school. But you see there is some duality, because in gymnasias, grammar schools, we have two options, like four-year gymnasium, which is a traditional, and then there's a tradition which goes to Austrian Empire and we say called First Republic, which is from 1918 to the Second War. We have 8 years grammar school, which are more competitive, and especially in big cities like Prague and Brno, now capital, there is a great demand to get children into this highly competitive grammar school, because those children are expecting to go to universities most easily. And then, of course, we have vocational schools and technical schools, secondary schools. I mean state school, and we have also some private schools. And then we have universities. And of course, being on art school, we have also conservatories. Usually the students who typically say, we don't like math, we don't like physics, say, we become musicians and so on, because we do not want to have anything common with those two subjects. So, and we have permanent discussion about the 8 years grammar schools, because our school system is set to have one disadvantage, or very big disadvantage, which is that it's reproducing the social status of the family. That means that if the child is born into a family which is educated, where there are libraries and the parents are inspiring, that's usually expected to have good school results and be prosperous. And on the other hand, especially with gypsy communities, where the education is usually not so good evaluated as a value from the families, the school results are more often problematic. So that's the problem. We are still fighting with that, to have this not so significant as it is now, and it's in all international comparison that it's one of the features we have. And now we see also what our students took in percentage. Well, it's just 3 years old, but I see the changes are not so frequent, and the education is taken by just 12% of students, so it's not the back. The most prestigious is usually medicine. At grammar schools, around 35% apply for medicine, and some of them then come for biophysics and so on if they are not successful. So that's in general. I would say that we have a similar thing in another point. Yesterday in discussion, I was told that your school system is under permanent reform. The same is in our country. Each government every 4 years comes with some new vision. And for instance, at this period, in 3 years, we have 3 Ministry of Education. So you see that it's not time for any long-time development, because every time the ministry is changing, that the administrative is changing, and people at Ministry of Education are thinking more about their post and keeping their post than about the other things. So that's, I think only Minister of Health is probably more frequently changing than Ministry of Education in our country. So that's probably common, but I would say that personally I think much more is done by evolution. As Andres Brooks already said, the life is changing, we are changing, our students are changing, and so the gradual evolution is usually much more effective than the campaign of reform. But there is still some steps for reform. Well, compared with some Western countries, we are sometimes said that our teachers are happy to have quite a lot of holidays. Compared with Netherlands, for instance, Germany and so on. The summer holidays are just 2 months, July and August typically, though the last week of August is devoted to the preparation for the school year. And then just Christmas break and Easter break and spring break. The spring break is circulating because the idea is to get pupils to the mountains to go snowing. Unfortunately, the climate change is coming. So, for instance, this year in February we have only very little snow. Only for downhill skiing when there's man-made snow, not natural snow. So that is okay. And I was already talking about the system. We were discussing yesterday about the length of teachers' preparation, and again, there are probably 3 ways. The standard ways is some university education. Typically is 3 years for bachelor degree and 2 years for master's degree, because for a full qualification only master's degree is allowed, but the practice is different because we have a common is with Thailand as well. There is a shortage of some teachers. There are shortage of teachers of ICT. Then there is a shortage of primary school teachers, and from sciences is physics and chemistry teachers. There is a shortage, and then you can imagine that if there is a shortage, then the practice needs that the standards of qualification must be in some way going around. So especially at basic schools is typical. It's strange that our Ministry of Education says that they do not have any data, so there are estimates, but they say that something from 30 to 40% teachers of physics, for instance, are not qualified as physics teachers. There are teachers of math, geography, and so on, and because being at school, the headmaster says, yes, you will teach physics because I do not have more. So that's the typical, not at grammar school. Grammar schools are usually more competitive in big towns. And for instance, in our town, Olomouc, where there is a faculty, that there is not shortage of teachers because we produce some teachers every year. And the estimate is that it will become even worse and worse in physics, for instance, because there is more teachers to be retired than the newly graduates in the whole Czech Republic. So you can guess and you can imagine, and I'm not sure if there is discussion here in Lithuania, but one of possible solution is not to have physics, chemistry and biology as separate subject, but to start with something like science, or we can call that, and then you probably have at your school somebody who teaches chemistry or biology or physics, so he will be then responsible for the science as well. With ICT teachers, there is a discussion whether it's useful to have separate programming courses, for instance, or, and I must say as a physicist I'm supporting this idea more, trying to get some informatics into physics, chemistry and subjects, like for instance doing measurements and then taking the data, visualize them with Excel and making things. So of course this is also our aim, because the numbers of hours, responsible hours are reducing for physics, for instance, so now to get some time for that, saying that we are doing informatics as well for that. So that is this case. And so this is first, traditional education. For some teaching preparation like primary school, which is case of my older daughter, it's just 5 years, full 5 years, not 3+2, but full 5 years. Of course, we are also discussing whether, because when I was studying, I have also full 5 years, not 3+2, so it has some advantage. Now with artificial intelligence, there is a serious discussion about bachelor works with huge amount, because especially in some branches, it's not so easy to follow with those. I have colleagues, for instance, departments of informatics who have who supervise, let's say, 20 bachelor works. I think at this load it's not quite easy to keep all the attention and to recognize. And so, of course, if you just have 5 years, there are no bachelor thesis, so there is some relief in that. But our students are not very keen about having it just full 5 years, because they usually, having bachelor degree, they are trying to find some place at school, and it's better for them to have at least some degree, though they are formally not fully qualified, but they have at least some degree, not just matura exam, but bachelor degree, to find a place at school. Because there is a shortage of some teachers, they are accepted even for that. So that is one line. The second part is some combined study for teachers who are already teaching at school and they would like to get some qualification, like for instance physics teachers. And now another third line also discuss when there is a shortage of teachers. There is an idea to get some other profession to go for teaching. So to get people from practice, like for instance an engineer who works for 5 or 8, 10 years in factory, and then he or she thinks, well, it might be interesting to have some classes, to try to bring them. And that's, then there are discussions, what qualification to put them, what demands to put them to attract them. Because, of course, it might be interesting, they have some different experience, different background, but on the other hand, if we say that the teaching as a profession and we have some standards, we must try to keep some standards to them. So this is things which are under development, I would say, in this sense. Okay, so now I would like to speak about something which is now also quite large. That's a strategy which was accepted 3 years ago. So these are the outlines for our educational system. I was talking already about reduce the inequalities, but you know, formally it was done in the previous decade. like inclusive education, but the reaction of parents was even stronger press on the competitive grammar school. There are some of the parents are trying to take these children and to get them into this. Now in the lines up to 2030, it's transforming the content. You know, the content is always things to discuss, especially if the disposable hours classes are reducing. So you must think what to keep and what to cancel. Of course, teachers have something at their own disposal. They can decide, but there is something which is obligatory, especially for the entrance exams and final exam. Just now, we are redefining the national framework curriculum, which is an interesting work sometimes, and in a fortnight I will have an online discussion with a lady who is responsible for the physics content, and she will try to explain us what was necessary to leave out to fit into the disposable hours. What is now very discussed is formative assessment, digital learning. That means that we are adding lessons of informatics, but we have shortage of people to teach them. So that's another thing. And of course, then lifelong learning even for teachers. Then equal access to education, which is, I think, quite interesting, is the support for teaching staff, which is a new item now, and thus mutual cooperation of schools and teaching. So these are the ideas of ministry, which are, I think, quite good, but we in Czech have an idiom and saying that the devil is in details usually. So the outlines are, I think, quite good, but we will see how the implementation will come with that. I think when the discussion started about content, so we have now over the content of education for basic school. Even the first attempt was rejected by the Union of Czech Mathematicians and Physicists. But I think this is not so important that, for instance, there was a suggestion to leave Newtonian laws from the curriculum, and, for instance, to leave the interconversions of energy, which is something they would say that's for all people. Even one American physicist, Miller, wrote a book, Physics for the Future Presidents, and the energy issues are on the curriculum in that. But just to give you some try for a joke, the form, how ministry works. So it was said that there will be a discussion about the change of national curriculum. We emphasized, or even organized some national meeting of teachers discussing for the whole weekend what should be kept, what should be released. Then the Minister of Education says, well, we have another problems, it must be stopped for 1 year, and then we will come back to discussions. And after the 1 year, it was officially stopped, the outcome will arrive. And nobody knows who was then the person working on the document, because officially ministry said, we are not working on that. So that's, I think, even worse than the single points that were left out. So the content, of course, is kind of discussion. The people who are very keen on changes say that the teachers are conservative and keeping the textbook. I don't think so, because after, let's say, 15 years where teachers were forced and paid for preparing their own materials, the influence of textbooks is not so strong as usually supposed. But of course, some are keeping whatever traditional tone, but I think in that case, they are trying to adopt very much. And again, and probably you have the same experience during the COVID period, the teachers, I I think, proved themselves to be very flexible to adapt to situation and try to do as much as possible for the children. What we do with our students, which is the standard form of preparation, of course they have some curriculum, they have 2 subjects, it's divided or split it into 3 parts, like one subject like math, another subject like physics, for instance, and 1/3 approximately is some psychological and pedagogical basement, like psychology, didactics, and so on. I mean general didactics because the didactics of the subject is included in the 3rd devoted to the subject. And then teachers' practice. Officially, we have 3 plus 4 weeks in the pre-final and final year of their master studies. They spend 3 or 4 weeks at school, and they have obligatory to have 3 or 4 hours of watching their leading teacher, and then 12 or 16 hours teaching themselves. So some students who are talking, well, it should be more, of course, it's not very much. You probably know that in Germany there is a different system. They have, when they finish university, they have 1 year, something like, waiting to be approved as a teacher. We still have this system. Of course, students would like to have more. But on the other hand, for instance, at our Department of Physics Education, most of them is already teaching at school. So it's better for me to give them control, because if there is just this period, I must find time for, let's say, 3 or 4 students within 3 weeks. If they are already at school, I might say, well, I will come later on because you are already teaching and I can come. But still there is a discussion whether to more. On the other hand, we have students who could take more hours, but they say, well, you demand just 12, I will take just 12, but not more. So it depends, but this is that. What we try to stimulate them is to participate in various popularization activities we are doing for school. We are inviting schools, for instance, to our laboratories before Christmas, at the end of June, when usually the school schedule is a little bit released, not so strict, so there's a time to invite the school to university. We also have a science center, so part of our students is regularly working as an extra student job in this science center, and then I think that some of the top wiles in this science center, they can meet, for instance, American astronaut Andrew Feustel, who was at our university in 2019. His wife has the Czech roots, so that's the reason he has quite good relations to our country, and he even brought 2 like symbolic things to the international station with this rocket ship. So that's something important. So you can see our students in actions, and this is quite natural that they are naturally supervised, because they are not alone there but at the activities, but we are at that activities with them. So on that is, we are trying to regularly give them feedback also about their activities they're preparing. And of course, they have some informal practice. I'm very glad that our new building is designed in the way there is a lot of tables, a lot of corners when you can sit, and you and our students usually supervise or tutor some secondary school students like their job. So if you go in the afternoon or early evening through our faculty, there is a lot of students working with small children and tutoring them. Sometimes I'm thinking that we should give some taxes for the faculty, because we are providing them heat and all the environment, and they use it just to earn some money in this way. Well, what is, I think, important in last 2 decades. And in fact, it's the same principle as you are here, to building teachers' communities. Because it's not a question only about preparing future teachers, but also to work with people who are already teaching, who are already at schools and would like to get some new knowledge, to learn some new methods, skills, and things like that, and to build communities. So we have several non-profit organizations. One is Učitel naživo, the translation is something like Teach Alive, where there are really experienced supervisors. For instance, from physics, it's my colleague here, Božáková from Prague. I will talk about her also tomorrow in my workshop, who is really very experienced. He was prized by European Physical Society for her bringings to physics teaching. And you see that 1 of 6 teachers feels that society, and I mean especially parents, are not evaluating as teach. There is some syndrome of burnout for about 50% of teachers after some years. So, and other things. So I think it's important that to give support. And so, for instance, we have a Heureka project led by Irina Božáková that teachers come regularly for, let's say, 6 or 7 weeks with sleeping bags. They are sleeping at schools and very simply cooking. And they are doing experiments, discussing and building community. It's also suitable for those teachers who are not qualified, for instance, as a physics teacher, to be involved in this, we say, like little school of physics for them. It's really very practical and very community building activity. Now we have 11th, it's 11th year now, Elixir for School. Which is supported, officially was supported one of the bank. It started with the fact that after the fall of communism, there were typical to give some money on so saving books, like a principle. And it appeared that quite a lot of them were not taking back, the people, for some reason. So it was decided to put it into education. And around the country there are so-called centers, and each month, for instance, in Olomouc, each month chemistry, with one group, and physics teachers, about 20 of them, are meeting, then again, doing experiments, sharing their attitudes and experience from school. And again, it's a community. Sometimes they together go to some excursion, to some factory or some interesting place. So again, and twice a year there are conferences. One of its physics teacher innovation. Your tradition is longer, as you see, because last year this was 28, so we will have 30 next year in Prague. We have tradition that the round anniversaries are always in Prague, which is the foundation. And again, it's a conference, sometimes with international guests, where teachers and people from universities are sharing their experience and exchanging. And again, it's a community, because usually I would say 60% are every year comers, and then because it's also traveling through the Czech Republic, then when it's in the West Bohemia, there's more teachers from West Bohemia. When it's in Moravia, it's more teachers from Moravia. So these are communities where people know each other and regularly building relation. And we have also the same activity for chemistry teachers. I'm not sure about biology and geography, but probably they build communities in a different way. So this is a feature which is, I think, very important and brings the values for evolution, because these are the teachers which came with new ideas and are trying to change the schools from we say, from the downside, not from the upside, like from the Ministry of Education, but from the downside. And it is usually better accepted by other teachers than which goes officially by the norms. So these were several experiences. I think I'm out of my time. So thank you for your kind attention. And if there are some questions, yes, please.
Tai dar trumpai dabar apie Čekijos jau atstovo pristatymą, tai būtų, jisai bendrai apžvelgė, kaip ir suprato turbūt, nes skaidrėse buvo daugiau tekstų, tai mačiau, kad daugelis išsivertėt, kad, nurodė, aišku, vėl tą pačią pagrindinę problemą kaip pas mus, kad neturim ateinančių mokyklą pakankamai jaunų mokytojų, vėl, kaip turbūt ir išgirdot ir supratot, kad labai panašiai bandoma spręsti tą problemą, bent jau planuojama spręsti ilgalaikį perspektyvoje, kad tarsi paimsime, sujungsime gamtos mokslus visus dalykus ir mokytis vienas dėsis vien dėl to, kad neturim atskirom disciplinom. Kažkada neužilgo pritrūksim specialistų. Tai problemos labai panašios, bet kas man patiko, kad nuo to tokio tarsi sudėliojimo prie negatyvo, kad čia, sakykime, vėl kaip ir visur mokytojų trūksta, tai toliau perėjo prie tos pozityvesnės pusės. Tai papasako, kaip jie vysto mokytojų bendruomenės, kaip jie dalinasi informaciją, kad iš geros pusės galėjau pasakyti, kad pavyzdžiui niekada istoriškai tiek įrangos neturėjo, aš tik tai vieną sakinį pasakiau, jisai toks pakankamai svarbus, kad niekada neturėjo kasdieniai praktikoje dalykuose tiek įrangos ir su kuo tiek dirbti, kad galėtų mokiniai padaryti tos darbus per pamokas praktiškesnius. Tai mes vėl panašiai su to ir susiduriam ir aišku, tas, kaip ir čia prieš tai kažkas minėjo, steam centrus pas mus Lietuvoje, tai pas jų, kaip įsivaizduoju, irgi kažkas panašiai prie to einama. Ir vėl tame apatiniam lygmenį, kaip čia sakė, kad pareina mokytojom šitą iš apačios iniciatyvos, tada geriau ir priima. Tai mes, tikėkime, kad ir mes panašių kelių pasuksim.
Small bag. What is inside is secret, not beer, because you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you.